Going live. What? I know, honey.
You're lying.
Then don't talk. I know what's going on. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Martin with My IELTS Tutor. I want to welcome you today. I want to apologize for last week. Last week, I was supposed to hold this particular presentation, but I was having a lot of technical difficulty, and so that has all been resolved. And I want to again, apologize for that and welcome you. Looks like we have two people present. Hello, Sonia Victor. Nice to see you here. Welcome. The other person, I'm not sure. If you are visiting us and watching us, do say hello. I would like to see who's watching. So to begin, my name is Martin Victor. I'm one of the tutors with My IELTS Tutor, the premium online IELTS training platform. I've been teaching IELTS, TOEFL, spoken English for over 8 years. And so this is what I do. I'm from India, so I work with a lot of Indian students, but My IELTS Tutor also works with students from all over the world. Oh, we have another person. Again, make sure you say hello for all the people who have joined. It'd be nice to see who's joined us. So today I'm going to talk about common grammar mistakes and how to fix them in IELTS speaking. So and I'm going to talk about some common ones that are often that are the most common ones that people make. And again, I will give you some examples of those and then give you an idea of what you can do to fix those. So first of all, before I begin, what could be some of the mistakes that people make in grammar, particularly with speaking? Can anyone answer that question before we get started? Okay, so again, I want to cover some of the most common grammatical mistakes that people make in speaking. And please offer some ideas of what those are before we get started. What could they be? Does anyone have any idea what those could be? All right. Well, you guys type those out in chat, but let's continue. So first of all, we want to talk about the importance of grammar in IELTS speaking. Now, I covered this in my previous presentation, where I talked about IELTS and such. And so, scoring of IELTS is 25. The importance of grammar makes up 25% of your overall band score. And what's considered here? First of all, range of structures used. What do I mean by range of structures? Does anyone have any clue of what do I mean by range of structures? So range of structures could be, are we talking about sentences, sentence structure? Yes, we are. We are talking about sentence structure. And so there are 3 different types of sentence structures. There's simple sentences, complex sentences, and compound sentence structures. But there's other type of grammatical structures as well that are just as important that you need to use. First of all, you need to be flexible meaning you need to be able to use all the different types of tenses. And there's a lot of different tenses, and I'll go into those, but you need to be able to use tenses correctly. So when you talk about the past or the present or the future, you need to be able to talk about those correctly. Prepositions are another one. Those are grammatical structures as well. And then flexibility of use. You need to be able to, what do I mean by flexibility of use? Does anyone know? What do I mean by flexibility of use? Well, flexibility of use refers to the ability to choose the most appropriate form. So let's, for example, talk about tense. You have 16 different tenses in English. You have several for past, several for present, several for future tense. And picking the most appropriate tense for the situation you're talking about, you want to talk about, is important. So you need to be able to use that, be able to use the correct tense. So rather than say simple future tense, you may be referring to something that's started in the past and ongoing, that will go on through the future, into the future. And so simple future will not work for that. You need another type of tense. So, and then finally, what do I mean by frequency of errors? What do I mean by frequency of errors? Any clue? So, frequency of errors, what I mean by that is pretty much the number of errors that you make. Now, it's okay to make a few errors as long as they don't take away from what you're trying to say. They don't change the meaning. They don't make what you say difficult to understand. If you have a few errors like that, that's okay. But if you have a lot of errors and your errors do take away from your meaning, they change the meaning or they confuse the meaning, then that's where we start having problems. So now let's move on. Now, most grammatical mistakes, these are the most common grammatical mistakes. We have subject-verb agreement. Then we have singular and plural nouns, incorrect or missing articles, comparative and superlative adjectives. Those are common mistakes that people make. Word order. What do I mean by word order? Any idea what do I mean by word order? Well, any clue? What do I mean by word order? So far, no input from you guys. Do comment. Do comment. So word order, what I mean is how you arrange your words in a sentence. Sometimes when you have word order off, that's not correct, the sentence becomes confusing. And yes, Sonia Victor, you're correct. Sonia, it is the incorrect sequence of words. That's actually really good. Refers to the sequence, the order in which your words come. So, and an error is the incorrect sequence of your words. And then we have prepositions. I mentioned those earlier, and then tenses. So so let's take a closer look at these. Okay, now, subject-verb agreement. Now, subject-verb agreement is a very common mistake. And basically, you have a subject, which is the noun, the main noun of your sentence. And the subject is the one who's always usually the one who's doing the, excuse me, one moment, please. Okay, sorry about that. There was a slight interruption. Okay, so now subject verb agree. The subject is always the main noun in your sentence. This is the person who, this is the thing, person or thing that is doing the action. This is the thing that is doing the action, okay? And so, for instance, I, the subject, am talking, the verb, I am talking. The verb here is talking, so the action is talking. Okay, so the key here is you must have, if you have a singular subject, the verb, the form of the verb must be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb form must be plural. So, you know, the subject must agree with the verb in terms of being singular or plural. And mistakes occur when a singular verb is used with a plural subject, or a plural verb is used with a singular subject. So, for example, here I have this example: the students in this class learns biology. Learns biology. That doesn't sound right, because learn is a singular form of the verb learn. So it should be the students in this class learned biology. The students, you guys in this session, learn grammar for IELTS speaking, okay? So the correct sentence in this should be, the students in this class learn biology. So now the tip here is to learn the plural and singular form for both nouns and verbs. This is really important, okay? And you can do, and how can you learn this? How can you learn the different forms of plural verbs and plural and singular verbs, as well as plural nouns and singular nouns? How can you do that? There are several ways. I talked about this in my previous presentation, my previous live session about grammar. And I'm going to tell you guys right here, there's many ways you can do this. You can buy grammar books in it, and I think this might be really helpful if you guys do purchase a grammar workbook and work through it. Your grammar will improve for sure. There are a number of websites online that are free, in fact, where you can learn grammar. For instance, British Council has a website on grammar as well. And this is something you can learn on that website. So now let's continue. Our next one is mixing up singular and plural nouns. This is related to subject-verb agreement. Now, it's important to know that nouns are either countable, singular or plural, or irregular, meaning that the plural form of the noun is different from the singular form. For instance, most singular nouns are plural when we added s at the end. However, there are irregular nouns in the plural, irregular plural nouns where the form is different. For instance, we have children, child, which is singular, but we have children, which is plural. Now, going back to countable nouns. Countable nouns are things that we can count. For instance, my fingers. I have 10 fingers. Now, uncountable nouns would be stars. There's too many to count. Hair on my head, which is actually thinning, but there's too many individual hairs to count on my head. So we refer to the hair on my head as hair. Information is another good one. We don't count individual pieces of information. we count information. Information is a non-countable noun. Now, the problem here with singular and plural nouns is you don't understand the difference. And because of this, it causes errors. So this is what happens. And one of the big differences is that we get subject-verb agreement errors. And we covered this, in the previous slide. So, for example, there is many students taking the test. Is the verb. It should be there are many students taking this test. And then we have quantifier errors. Quantifier errors basically, quantifiers are basically words that kind of indicate a quantity. For instance, many or much, many actually, some. Much is not really a quantifier. So for this example, she has much friends. We don't want to say much friends because that's incorrect. We want to say she has many friends. So the tip here again is to learn the singular, plural, and irregular forms of the nouns, and then understand which nouns are countable and uncountable. And again, you can learn these through a grammar book as well as going online. Again, British Council and other websites do have free grammar lessons for you. And I really encourage you guys to go and learn the grammar, review it, review what you know and build on that, because you want to get a higher score, band score in IELTS speaking, you do need to have a fairly good sense of grammar, okay? Now, the next one is incorrect and missing articles, okay? So now our articles are also known as determiners because they are used to determine certain aspects of a noun. Okay, so our articles are just three: the or the, a, and n. Okay, now the problem is they're often used incorrectly because there are some exceptions on how they're used, or they're used incorrectly. Using the incorrect article may also lead to an unclear or wrong meaning. And not using an article would make this the sentence grammatically incorrect. So, for example, if we have my brother bought a house, okay? Now, if we say bought a house, that means any house. Nothing, it's not a specific house. It's just any house. When we say my brother bought the house, that means a very specific house. So, for instance, the house in plot number 152, B block in Model Town, in 𝐂𝐓𝐿𝐻, for example. Now, that's a very specific house. My brother bought houses. That should be bought houses. That's a typo there. Sorry about that. So that means more than one house was bought. And then my brother bought house. That one's just grammatically incorrect. So the solution, again, is to learn the articles and practice using them, okay? So the key here, though, is, and this is what can help you here at the bottom. When we use the word the, we're talking about something very specific. So, for example, the water bottle, the specs that I'm wearing, the mouse that I have here, okay? Those are very specific things. So when you want to refer to something that's very specific, then you want to use the word the article the. So the house on the hill is what he bought. Now, a is used for non-specific nouns. So that could be any noun, such as a cat jumped on the table, or he bought a house in the model town neighborhood. We're not referring to a specific house there. And then an is used in the same way as a, but it's used for sounds that, for nouns that begin with an vowel sound. So for example, he ate an apple for his snack. Okay. So apple starts with an A, it has the vowel sound of a. So we want to use an apple. Okay. So there's no real difference between the use of a and an, except that an is always used when there is a vowel sound, when the noun starts with the vowel sound. Okay. All right. So now, comparative and superlative adjectives. Okay. Now, some questions in IELTS ask for that you make comparisons. And when we do this, we use comparatives. These are words such as better, quicker, faster, harder, things like that. And superlatives are the best. Better is one. The worst. Those are examples of superlatives. Okay. Now, the problem here is the mistakes that people make is that they often include double. So they use double comparatives or superlative forms with short adjectives. So for example, here we have professional athletes are more quicker. We just want to say they're quicker, or they're more agile. We can say they're more agile. Agile is, but quicker, faster, stronger. The biggest democracy is India. Well, the most biggest democracy is in India. We don't want to say most, we just want to say the biggest, okay? So the tip here is do not combine comparatives and superlatives with words like more, most, many, and much, okay? You don't want to pair them with those words, okay? Now, to learn more about, comparatives and superlatives, go learn them online. You can find them on references to them online, free websites, or get yourself a grammar book. All right, now, the next one is word order. And this was, what Sonia Victor was talking about. So word order, standard. So this is standard. So word order is the sequence of our words, and a word order error is the incorrect order of our words. So now the standard word order for most sentences, subject, verb, and object. For instance, I am talking to you. So I am the subject, the verb is talking, and you are the subject, okay? So I would not say you talking, I am, for example. That doesn't sound right, okay? So now we also want to use adjectives, adverbs, and other words. They can be, these can be added, and we do use them. They make our speech more meaningful and more natural. But the problem is when sentences are longer, and it's important to speak long sentences from time to time, there's greater chance for word order mistakes. So, for example, he is always late. He always is late, rather. That's incorrect. It should be he is always late. My sister Big drove carefully her car. Now that just doesn't make sense when I read it or when I say that. It should be my big sister, the adjective for my sister, big sister, because she's older than me. Or I could say my older sister carefully drove the car. Okay. if I were to say my big sister drove carefully the car, that would still be incorrect. Carefully should go before the verb. So, and then I also can ride a motorcycle. That's incorrect. It should be I can also ride a motorcycle, right? So those are examples of word order problems. Now, the tip here is to learn to construct sentences in the correct order. And, you know, one of the best ways of helping you do this is by writing. Now, a tip here is your adjectives which modify nouns, which emphasize nouns. For example, my big sister or my older sister, the adjective always comes before the noun. Adverbs are nouns, are just like adjectives, but they modify verbs. They always come before the verb. So carefully drove. Carefully is the adverb, drove is the verb. So carefully drove her car. So get in the habit of when you use an adjective, it goes before the noun. When you use an adverb, it goes before the verb. And that's the primary problem that happens when you're using longer sentences. You know, because you're throwing in adverbs and adjectives, they get rearranged, right? So keep that in mind. And also, you know, go and learn about these word order online. Now, this is going backwards. Next are prepositions. Now, prepositions are very short words, such as the examples I have here: in, on, at, before, to, from. Those are all examples of different prepositions. Now, prepositions are important words because they're used to show time, place, or direction, or to link nouns to nouns, such as he is from 𝐻𝐿TSR, for example. So, for example, he is from 𝐻𝐿TSR. From is the preposition here. So it's linking the nouns he and the preposition, and the noun 𝐻𝐿TSR. And then we have nouns to verbs. So he gave that, he gave a gift to, he gave a gift to his sister. So, for example, okay. Now, common mistakes here are, for example, my parents are angry on me. I hear that a lot. He yelled on me. We don't say angry on or yell on. It should be at me, at. My parents are angry at me. I'm traveling to New Delhi on next Friday. Should be next Friday. I'm traveling to New Delhi next Friday. So we don't want to use the on here. So it'd just be next Friday. I graduated at my high school since on 1999. So there we have a lot of extra prepositions here that we don't need. It should be I graduated from my high school in 1999. We have two primary prepositions in this correct sentence: from and in. From my high school, where for example, me, graduated from my high school. So from, that's where from indicates origin, for example. And then in this context, in refers to a specific time period, although it can refer to place in certain contexts, particularly if it's inside a building, for example. or a specific area. Now, the solution is learn the rules for preposition use and the different prepositions. Now, a good website for that, again, is Cambridge, British Council for that. But you can also go to EnglishClub.com for learning grammar. They have all the rules for prepositions there. They also have preposition exercises and things like that. I believe I mentioned those in my previous live session. So now, tense. I talked about this at the beginning. Now, tenses indicate time of action, when something occurred in time, whether it's the past, present, or future, okay? Now, the problem is there's 16 different tenses, and so it's confusing to know which one to use. And errors in this often change the meaning. So you might refer the past. One problem is you might be talking about the past, but you use the present tense. And so that doesn't quite make sense. Simran, you always use them incorrectly? Face problems and preposition. Yes, so I really encourage you to learn those, Simran. Actually, I'm going to finish and then I'll have some time for question and answer. So let me continue. But those who have joined us, if you have questions, please post and I'll try to answer. I'll answer those as best I can when we come to the end. So now getting back, errors can change the meaning or create confusion for the listener. And so, and that's a problem. And errors often occur when verbs are not consistent with the sentence. And this is especially important when when you're using complex sentences. So, for example, here, when I lived in India, I often go to a particular park near my home. Now, we have the verb lived, that's past tense, but if you look at the verb go, that's present tense. So it's really incorrect. It should be, when I lived in India, I often went to a particular park near my home. So we need to be consistent in terms of the tense for our verbs. So now the solution, again, here is learn and master the different tenses. And so the different tense, depending on the particular tense, the consistency of the verb may not always be the same. For simple tenses, it is primarily the same. And the key thing here is also to establish a primary tense. So if you're talking about something that happened in the past, stick with that. Don't change the tense unless there's a time shift, unless you need to shift time. Say you need to shift into the present or to the future. And then if you have to go back to talking about the past, you go back to talking about the past. Okay. So, but really, I really recommend that you guys learn about the tenses. They're very important, and that you master them. Do your best to master them. English Club has great lessons for that. Same with British Council, their grammar website too. So, and again, if you want to purchase a grammar book to help you, I fully support that and recommend that. Okay, so now that's it for our session. I want to thank you. Now, Simran, I want to talk to you. Okay, so Simran, you say replace by or replace with. Please tell. I'm not sure I understand your question. By is a preposition for usually that's a preposition of regarding place. He is standing by the fence, for example, or the desk is by the door, for example. With is usually when you want to link two nouns that are kind of doing the same thing. So I am talking with, for example, right now I am talking with Simran. Okay, so with kind of indicates two nouns that are doing something together at the same time. So does that help? Hello, Praveen. Nice of you to join us. Now, are there any other questions? Okay, I really want to thank you guys for joining. It's really great to have you here. It's a pleasure. And I really enjoyed having this time with you guys. If you guys have any more questions, please post them. Shortly, I'm going to talk about my IELTS Tutor. And tell you about that. So, but again, going back to grammar, it's really important that you don't have to master grammar, first of all, but you should work on getting to the point where you have a minimum number of errors, okay? At band 7, you're generally making very few errors. And you are attempting more complex sentences. Actually, this is band 6. Band 7 has somewhat frequent errors. Band 8 has rare errors, okay? And you're using band 7 has frequent error-free sentences, and you are I'm trying to pull this off the top of my head from the band descriptors, but band 7, you have frequent error-free sentences. You're using more complex sentences, so a variety of different sentence types. The errors are not, despite any errors, what you say is understandable, okay? So that's band 7. So band 8, you're having more flexibility in using the structures, so you can use them for, which say, for instance, which particular past tense to use for a particular situation, and you have very few errors at that point. Okay, so you're welcome, Simran. You're welcome. So that's basically it for today. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Now, let me talk about my IELTS Tutor. Now, my IELTS Tutor is the premium online IELTS service, IELTS training, okay? We offer our students a lot. And from what you can, and as you can see, we have a lot of things that we offer our students. We have one-to-one speaking sessions. We have band 9 essay banks. We have live feedback and analysis. We have these live sessions, weekly live sessions that I and other tutors put on. And this is part of the service that we provide our students. So, for example, proven tip and strategy live sessions. That's what this is. That's what this is. And so this is what you're getting as our students. Okay, Praveen, I don't know why you got 5.5 in IELTS writing in the essay, but follow us, and we will teach you how to go beyond band 6, band 7, even band 8. Okay, but one of the things that could be where you're facing problems is grammar, and so for grammar, rewatch this video. Watch my previous one where I talk about grammar and the importance of grammar. Now, going back to what my IELTS Tutor offers, one of the things that we offer is a customized study plan for all our students. What we do is we assess your strengths and we come up with we assess your weaknesses, and we come up with a personalized plan that takes these into account. And so rather than going into a brick and mortar, and that's a good idiom for you, brick and mortar institute, where you're sitting in a classroom with 20 or 30 other students, you're not getting that much attention. When you're with us, you're either in one-to-one situations, one-to-one sessions with tutors like myself or others, or you're in small group sessions with up to 4 students. And so you get more individualized attention. And that's important because the more attention you get, the more likely you're going to excel and succeed in achieving your goals. And that's one of the things that we're committed to. And so from here, now, here are the chief tutors of my IELTS Tutor, myself, 𝐂𝐐𝐓𝐀𝐂𝐓, and Ms. Amita. Together we have around 30 years of teaching IELTS, English. For myself, I also teach TOEFL. So we are experts in our field. We are experts in our field. And so these are some of our recent results. And one of the things we always shoot for, 7.5, 8 bands. 8 bands. That's what we really shoot for all our students. We always go for the expectation that our students are going to achieve 8 bands. And so we work hard to do that. And because of that, I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. Oh, shit. Yeah, it ended. No, it's still going. I'm still going. Okay, so looks like I'm still going. Sorry about this. I don't know what happened. Okay, so because we always go for higher bands, top bands here, this means that your bands are our responsibility. Your bands are our responsibility. And so we take this commitment seriously for you. And we do everything we can to help you achieve your goals for IELTS. Now, again, I apologize at the end for I'm not sure what happened with my slides, so I apologize for that. I want to thank you guys for joining. It's great to have you. If you want more information about my IELTS Tutor, click on the button below, and a representative will get in touch with you as soon as possible. Do join me every Wednesday at 5 o'clock here on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, especially if you want to watch if you want access to our free and exclusive material content. With that being said, again, thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. You guys take care.